So you were on the what team?
STRAC team is Strategic Army Corps. It was a predecessor to the Army Parachute Team.
That's awesome.
And
Awesome.
we later, in 1961, we became the U.S. Army Parachute Team. And I was one of the original Golden Knights selected on the original team. Everybody worked as really teammates. They gelled, and the camaraderie was fantastic. Everybody worked together and helped each other, developing new style, new techniques, new gear, of which in 1964 I was able to develop my skills in style, and I won the National Style Championship. That was in Alta, Utah for the 1964 Nationals. In '63, Lloyd Bryden and I and a couple other fellas worked on the first piggyback rigs ever, and they were the USAPT-1, the U.S. Army Parachute Team 1, and we developed it so that the reserve could be placed in the front or the back depending on whether you're doing style or accuracy. So it was a convenience development of equipment.
You hesitating on the next question?
Yes.
That's all right. What's the next question?
Do you have any items you'd like to donate?
Or you can skip that one.
Okay.
You can skip
USPA ratings?
that one. Yeah, you can skip that one for now too. We'll get to that one. But
Okay, licenses?
what's your D license number?
My D license is D22. I earned that in 1960, along with my B, C, and D, all of them in 1960. I have the honor of being Gold Wings 2, the second person to make 1,000 jumps. And Lloyd Bryden, one of my teammates, beat me by about 3 months, and he was Gold Wings 1.
Uh-huh.
So I feel quite honored.
So did you continue jumping outside of the military for fun?
Yes, I still jump. During the time I was on 4 U.S. teams. Felt quite honored. 1962, we won the overall men's second place. We helped the girls that year, and they won gold. So we were very proud of them. And that same year, Muriel Simboro won the world championship, women's world championship. So we're very happy with the girls. Awards-wise, I haven't written down all of the trophies and stuff, so that's difficult to put down.
I was just like Falcon Awards, Eagle Awards.
Yes.
Were those around when you were skydiving?
Well, in recent years they have, since I was away for a little bit because I flew helicopters in the Army, went over a couple tours in Vietnam. When I came back, I started jumping again. By that time, these awards were developed, and I do have my awards, yes. I don't remember the numbers of them, but there was too many of them. My last jump was this September, and I've 1,750 round jumps, and for all the rest are squares for a total of 4,200 and some jumps.
So, as part of the U.S. Army Parachute Team, is there anything in particular that you guys did to prepare as a team for the U.S. Nationals?
Trained hard.
So what do you think the difference now is with these teams training in the tunnels compared to what you guys did?
Oh, if we would have had the tunnels in, it would have been a great asset. The development of the tunnels and the skills that these fellows have now are just spectacular. I've watched the people train and jump, and it's very pleasurable to see them. We have a fine group of guys out there training now, guys and girls both. I'm impressed with the girls coming along too. And that started way back in '60 when Sherry Buck and Bobby Gray was our first women's team. And in '62 with our girls that jumped in that. So the girls have come a long way, and recently they've just showed themselves again by winning the 8-way women's. I'm not sure what it was, but I read it at a quick glance on my computer. But the men and women did a spectacular job.
So how do you think the sport compares now compared to where it was then?
Oh, goodness, there's no comparison. We were jumping old salvage gear and modifying them ourselves and developing our own modifications. Now it's all manufactured, engineered, for the weight, body weight and configuration. It's improved, 1,000%. It's much safer now. Where we were, in all, we were very safe. We just didn't know if the parachute was going to open. And now they're developed to a state now that if they don't open, it's something that somebody did wrong.
So with the development of the automatic opening device,
it's a very good device.
Did you start using those right away, or what were your feelings on those when they were developed, and what were they like back then?
Well, Fortenberry and I and Lloyd Bryden started doing some aerial camera work, and we discovered the Air Force had an old F-1A and F-1B automatic opener, and we started wearing those. So after the rest of them started coming out, yeah, they were good. We didn't use those. We still use the F-1A and F-1B. In 1961, I was an alternate on the U.S. team, and we went to La Ferté-Gaucher, France. And one of the Russian jumpers wanted to trade me my helmet for a Russian automatic opener, which I did. And it turned out to be one that was developed here in the United States for pilots, but they didn't think their life was worth spending the money on them, so they dropped it, and it was picked up in Russia, and they developed it. So, but yeah, the new openers are great. And I recommend everybody use them. Turn them on.
And turn them on too, right?
Yeah, turn them on.
Turn them on. So, as a skydiver throughout the years in history, what is one of the most memorable skydives you've ever made?
Wow.
Just something that comes to the top of your head.
A demo jump for Pope John Paul.
Where was that at?
At Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
What year?
1953.
1953.
I'm sorry, 63.
63.
Yeah.
What was so exciting about that one?
Well, I'm Catholic, and the lift was all Catholics.
The lift was all Catholic.
Yeah.
And that was real special for
It
you?
was special.
Yeah.
Because we got to meet him and talk to him. And,
Great.
yeah.
So what do you think of this history, National Skydiving Hall of Fame and National Museum that we're putting
Fantastic. I think this is the greatest thing that could happen. I think the people that developed the sport should get credit. I think the people that have caused it to move forward in the development in gear and processes and training should all get credit for what they've done. And they've done it as a group, which is really spectacular.
Including yourself?
Well, I think we did our part.
What kind of gear were you when you said that you had to develop your own equipment and you were using Army surplus stuff?
Right.
Test jumping that equipment after you'd cut lines or after you'd cut holes in it so you could steer it. What was that like?
It was exciting. In those days, we, like a blank gore in the T, you'd just take the scissors and go up the channel seam and put masking tape on the inside and outside, cut across down the other channel seam and across the lower lateral band, tie your steering lines on, slide it in a sleeve and go jump it. And if it didn't work, then you had a reserve and you went back to the drawing board and tried something else. But that's how we went through the processes. So
I don't know that I could do that.
it was fun. If we had a big modification, we had rope head, which is a 220-pound dummy, and we would throw him out and see what would happen. But just on the regular modifications, we jumped them, test jumped them ourselves.
That's awesome. It's absolutely amazing. I don't know that I have the guts or the.
It's just something that we had to do.
Uh-huh. And as the sport's developed, you like being able to steer the canopy and
Oh gosh, yes.
F-111 and all that good stuff.
Sure.
Came across.
We were committed to all downwind landings in competition, and you had speeds of 5 to 8 miles an hour plus whatever the wind was. So you were going to land downwind at maybe 10, 15, maybe even 20 miles an hour. So we called them crash and burns. But you had to try to get as close to the target as you could. Now with the squares, you drive in, you can penetrate the wind, you can do anything you want to. It's real forgiving. In fact, the art of spotting is lost now. They all use GPS and things like that, where it was critical to have the proper spot for your accuracy jumps.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you.
And in style, back then, we used panels on the ground. When you left the aircraft, you didn't know whether you were going to get a right, left, or a double panel. And then you had to try to remember what that represented. And you did your series and your time, and you were judged by 5 judges on the ground. And they dropped the best one and the least one, and then they averaged the middle 3 for your time and whatever you did during the maneuvers. Now the jumpers know what they're going to do the night before, so they can mentally prepare. So I think that, in my opinion, that takes away a little bit of it, of the competition to do style. You know, that element's been removed. So, yeah, that's my opinion. Because I'm national style champion '64.
That's amazing. All right. Well, is there any other topics you'd like to hit?
No, I think that pretty well covers it.
All right. So tell me one more time your jump history. Where did you start?
Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
And what year was that?
1958.
1958.
Right.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
All right.